Hi everyone, I'm back in Portland, Oregon after my lovely stay in the Bay Area. I stayed visiting my friend Bev for 5 days. You saw 2 of the live streams we did together, and yeah, we did some cool hanging out. Her friends were very generous, especially Carol. Just thank you so much, Carol, for everything you did. And yeah, just her other friends for like hanging out with me and talking with me. I also got to meet Linda Strega, who is one of the authors of Dykes Loving Dykes. So really, I had a great time. And this video is actually inspired by a conversation that was had with one of her friends who I met, named Alfreda, who talked about like intervening in a situation of sexual grooming that she saw with an older man and a younger woman, and it backfired. But it doesn't really matter, that particular concept. It inspired me to talk about this subject on the channel. So let's do this. Grooming, big problem, big problem. The thing about grooming is it's a way for you to, really get your boundaries tested. Men use grooming tactics to test you, to see how much they can get away with, how much you're going to resist, how much you're going to put up a fight. So when you are familiar with these tactics and you understand how to intervene when it happens to you and when it happens to other women, you can often save yourself some trouble, because what they're looking for, what men are looking for always, predatory men are looking for an easy victim. They don't want to generally rape a woman that is going to fight back, who is going to resist strongly. They want to know that you're going to be passive during any sort of sexually coercive scenario they get you into, and they figure this out through grooming, or they get you used to them as well. That's another aspect of it. So common ways it looks: men making sexual comments or inappropriate comments around you to see how you'll react. If you laugh it off, just to be one of the guys or a cool girl, you're basically saying that you're comfortable with that. This is why it's so important to demand a little respect and decorum from men who you're interacting with, especially in situations, where like professional situations specifically, but in any sort of context, even a friendship group. If a man is being inappropriate, call him out. That's a way to intervene right away. He will probably think twice, or he will think twice about saying something in front of you again. And he'll know that you're likely to say something if, he makes you uncomfortable. And this is important too, monitoring. You need to monitor this with other women and girls. If you hear a man making sexual comments or comments that could be inappropriate around little girls or other women, intervene as well. Maybe it wasn't said to you, but you were around an earshot. Say it made you uncomfortable. Also, maybe talk to the woman in question about what's going on as well. See what she thinks. A lot of the times, though, in intervening, you may not get the response you want from another woman. But honestly, the fact of the matter is you will let it known that the situation's being watched. So if anything unconsensual does happen, you are a witness at that point. You witnessed creepy behaviors happening. So that's important, even if she doesn't like you for it, or she doesn't agree with you, or she's like, fuck you, what are you doing? Or she tells him, better that happen and that she have like a witness and something, does happen. Just saying. So yeah, you want to monitor. Touching is another big one. Forced intimacy, forced touching. Maybe expecting a hug in an inappropriate time, you know, or when you're just not comfortable with it. Or it can be as casual as like brushing his hand against yours or lingering, touching a lot. You know, you see this with little girls sometimes. Men like may demand hugs or kisses from little girls. You need to watch those interactions carefully and see what's happening and going on. Another one is with the like, yeah, any lingering touches. Very, very suspicious behavior. If that happens to you, you can say something. You know, sometimes it feels though like you can't because of feminine socialization. You know, you're a crazy bitch if you're like, can you not linger your hand there? I do have one friend who's really good at intervening this way. When a guy does something, anything like that, she's immediately like, did you just do that? She's not a feminist at all, but she's really good at that. So, you know, you want to be like that. You want to just be fierce about it. Because it communicates that you're not going to passively accept your boundaries being violated, okay? That's important for them to know. Another thing is, you know, maybe they'll get into your personal space at a time that's inappropriate. If there is some sort of power differential between you, maybe he's boss, you know, or something, and he like touches you, like I've had this happen. Men touch my jewelry, like men who I barely know will grab my neck, like this is one example I'll say, like grabbed my necklace and got really close to me to look at it. I mean, we had friendly interactions before then, but when that happened, I was immediately like, oh, he's grooming me. And of course, it was one of those situations where there was a power differential, and I didn't know how to react at the time. But I definitely, like, think my reaction was clear that I was super uncomfortable. I don't know. That was one that I still get weirded out about. Probably because I see him sometimes still. So yeah, there are circumstances like that where, you know, they're just casual little boundary violations, testing what they can do, testing what they can get away with. And the thing that you want to just go with is, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel when you see a guy like, you see like this man touch this young woman? How did that make you feel? Did you feel creeped out? Trust that. You know, how did you feel when this guy put his arm on your shoulder? Was it friendly? Was it genuine? Or was it uncomfortable? Understanding that, trusting your gut, your feelings, your intuition will help you so much. So much. So yeah. Intervening. If it happens to another woman, you can say something, and if it happens to you, you can say something, or you can, you know, if you can't say something, you know, just try to get away, I would say. Like if a man puts his arm on your shoulder, you know, to kind of shrug it off, or, you know, quickly kind of move it, or that kind of touch, you know, but make mental note of it too. Understand that that might mean that you don't want to be around him in the future, and limit your interactions accordingly. These sorts of things they're testing, you know. There's difference between like being a friend with someone and exchanging like a genuine hug or something like that, or like, you know, a friendly interaction and, you know, an interaction that's completely inappropriate. And you are the judge of that. You have the right to decide who touches your body, how it's touched, you know, and this kind of casual boundary violation that women are just expected to consistently accept, you know, you have to reject that, and you have to, you know, call it out when it's happening, or, you know, make a mental note of it. But this is kind of what it looks like. The most important thing though is to think of is how does it feel? It feels like bad, it feels like instinct, it feels like your flight or fight response gets triggered. That shouldn't be happening. in a genuine, like, soft interaction, or one that's, that's well-intentioned. You need to, like, trust that. And maybe you are crazy, maybe you're traumatized, but if you are, you have a right not to be touched. You have a right to have your boundaries respected, especially if you've been traumatized, for God's sakes. So just understand that, this is what they're doing. Another big way that men will test boundaries is to try to get access to women through women's interests. Now, the big thing that's, like, talked about right now is men who appropriate femininity. This is a great way to gain access to women and to bond with women in really a way that's totally inappropriate and really does violate and, wear down women's boundaries to go along with it. So trust your instincts about that. But oftentimes men will use that kind of closeness or, like, difference from other men for not being traditionally masculine, I suppose, to gain access to women they otherwise wouldn't have. So don't think that because a man is, like, I don't know, effeminate in some way, that means he's going to be a safe man. It is not the case at all. In fact, a lot of the times you see these grooming tactics more with those sorts of men, because they're not the ones that will come right out and, like, force you to have sex. What they'll do is they'll gradually wear down your boundaries and get you into a situation that you don't want to be in, where you'll consent to something you don't actually want to do. So, where it's been gray because you've been putting up with their weird grooming for a while. But most rapists groom their victims to a certain degree. So, unless it's the case of, like, a stranger attack rape, most of the times with a rapist, there are warning signs to look out for. He is testing you beforehand, and if you can intervene before something happens, it's important too. And also, just watch men's interactions with other women and listen to other women talk about their interactions with men. Get kind of clarity about that, because it's a very difficult thing to explain. All I can say again is, before I cut this off, trust your instincts. Go with that. Did it feel wrong? If it felt wrong, trust that, because your body's not going to lie to you. If something's good for you, it's not going to say no. And, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to hurt a man's feelings, possibly, that he was being, like, a little too close and comfortable with you, than to end up in a scenario with a man that you don't want to be in. So, yeah. That's all I really have to say. I'm not an expert on grooming as well, but I'm sure women will share interesting stuff in the comment section about this. But yeah, just be aware. Try to be aware. And, protect yourself. And protect other women. And protect girls. Protect girls always, because they're awesome. Alright. Share, like, subscribe. Check out the links in the low bar. Until next time, take care.